Welcome to day 3 or day 2 of the diving. We moved over to Ari Atoll yesterday, as you know, and started today in North Ari and then went south after the first dive. Today the conditions weren't great, the weather was against us. We had rain in the morning, rain at the end of the last dive. It was overcast all day and the sea was very choppy. However, Fish Tank's a famous dive site in North Ari and it didn't disappoint. Fish Head's a marine protected area and that was evident by the sheer amount of fish that you could see. It's famous for big game fish and sharks, and as you can see there was lots of big stuff around. So yeah, it was a nice first dive. It is an iconic dive when the conditions are absolutely spot on, but they weren't today, but it was still a very nice dive and I enjoyed it.
So as our first dive this morning, we are going to go to Moofushi Gaa. Locally, the pinnacle that we are going to do is called as Moofushi Gaa. But when our forefathers tried reef fishing over here, they only got the head part of the fish due to the sharks on the dive side. So they started calling this place Fish Head. But this was right after 1972 and after the introduction of tourism as well. And establishment of the resorts close by made this dive site a marine protected area, which protects this place now from fishing and other stuff that helps or allow people to take out from here, which allows a lot of fish life and pelagics like sharks to show up and still be around on the pinnacle today. So Fish Head is an underwater mount which starts in a depth of around 8 meters on the top reef, and average depth of the reef edge or the pinnacle edge drops downward up to around 12 meters to 15 meters. And most part of this pinnacle goes more like a wall going all the way down to a depth of around 25 to 30 meters. And on the eastern side, again, it can get a little bit deeper where it hits the ground all the way down. But all around the pinnacle, again, you have chance to find overhangs and crevices that looks more like inwards and make some shelter on the reef itself. And on the top reef, it's mostly past anemones, while around the pinnacle you can find black coral bushes, little bit of hard corals around the whole pinnacle itself. So once we get there, we'll be checking the current from the top of this pinnacle, and depending on this current we will start our dive. And this is not a very big dive site, which means from one side to the other it's more or less around 50 meters in diameter, which means not so big, average size pinnacle. And I am expecting a current to be following from the western direction. If we have a west current and if it is slight, we will try to move the dive boat towards the edge of the pinnacle on the upcoming current side, and we will drop 3 groups separately into the upcoming current side. Guys, in that case also minimize your time on the surface and try to jump in as a group. The thing is, even though if we have a slight current and if we spend too much time on the surface, we will be drifted off with the current, and after, once we go down, we have to move against the current to get to the upcoming current side. Okay? But if it is more than slight current, instead of dropping you guys towards the edge, we will move the dive boats into the blue water, where into the upcoming current side, and we will drop 3 groups separately into the blue water so that we will have enough time to go down before getting to the pinnacle itself. So in that case, we will try to go down to a depth of around 12 to 15 meters in the beginning of the dive. And once you start to see the big school of fusulids, the yellow and blue color fusulids that stays on the upcoming current side, and the margin up and the surgeon fishes, please go down a little bit down to a depth of around 20 meters. And then once you get to the pinnacle on the upcoming current side, there is more like a split current which takes us to the both side of the the pinnacle. But on the upcoming current side is where we find most of the fish life and pelagics and come for the nutrition water as well as looking for their food. It's not only fusiliers and surgeon fishes that are on the upcoming current side. We have chance to see some dog-toothed tunas, jacks and other big fishes that come and look for food as well. So at the beginning of the dive, we will try to spend some time on the upcoming current side to have a look, and after some time, depending on the action on the upcoming current side, you can decide to go reef on left or reef on right. Either way, on the first strip we will be going with the current, while on the other side you have to move against the current. But only we will do a round if it is less than medium current, so that we will be able to swim against the current all the way towards the top on the front back. We will try to swim around, explore the crevices and overhangs, and check out the fish life as well as the fish coral life on the place. And towards the lee side, again you have chance to see some hawksbill turtles that are feeding on the pest anemones, and they do not care about the divers. So it's very photogenic turtles that we find around here. While you come all the way towards the top, again you have chance to see a big school of snappers, the 5 blind yellow color snappers that we find in large schools. But they hide again depending on the current on either side of the pinnacle. Okay, and then octopuses, free swimming moray eels are common sight on the top reef itself. And towards the end, again we will try to swim around on the top reef depending on the current and explore the top reef. And once your NDL time reach up to 5 minutes, or your dive time goes down to 55 minutes, we will just let go and do our safety stop in mid-water. In case if you have to come up before the group, please make sure you use the surface marker buoy while you are drifting in blue water. So again, in a cloudy day like this, it will be really easy for the dhoni if you shoot up the balloon right before you lose the sight of the pinnacle. Okay? But in case if you are with the dive guide, always the dive guide will shoot up the balloon. Okay? On this dive, we will keep our maximum depth 30 meters, 99 feet, and we will try to do a dive time of 60 minutes or 50 bar, whichever comes first. Okay? And the groups will keep it as Shaku goes in first, and Wahoo goes in second, and we will be jumping third. Okay?
2 was at a site called Moofushi Gaa, or Gaa, if you pronounce it like the Maldivians do. Very big manta cleaning station, the biggest in Atoll. Wasn't a great dive. A couple of reasons for that. One I've mentioned is the weather. We started off and went along, got some nice shark footage, although because of the lack of sunlight it's not as good as it could have been. We did see some nice reef fish and my first octopus of the trip, and he wasn't out of the hole, but he was enough out of the hole that we could I could film him. And really, I'm glad I bought the video lights. You know, I have not persevered. I wanted to use ambient lighting and color correct, but you know, buying the lights, as you'll see in a lot of the footage, was definitely money well spent. They're not strong enough to get the sharp shots because they are quite some distance away and I'm filming on narrow on the GoPro, but the lights were definitely a good investment. So we had some nice shark activity, some nice reef fish, and then we went up to the manta cleaning station. There were a lot of divers in the water. I think there was 3 or 4 boats, so you're looking up to 50, 60 divers, and although our dive guides are very professional and manage the crowd very well, so to speak, dive guides on the other boats weren't really as good, sorry to say. There was one group who just had cameras galore and they didn't have any respect for anyone else. Anyway, that said, we went to one edge. Our dive guide Shaku found a spot where we could, 4 of us, just be quiet, and what came through, a manta. So that was great. We should have had a lot more manta, but when there's so many people in the water, close together, you know, mixing groups, is not going to be good for watching mantas. They're not going to like it. But having said that, our guides were great. They managed to steer us away most of the time from the crowd. We did see some other mantas when we were looking at the sharks, or one manta, but it was way off in the distance, obviously thinking, do I come in for a clean or not? And then when he heard all the commotion and noise, he probably said, nah, not today. But it is a recommended site, in good conditions, with not too many divers. You're virtually guaranteed to see mantas there.
As our second dive, we are gonna do Moofushi Gaa, or Gaa, as in the our second dive, we are gonna do a manta cleaning station right outside, in between Moofushi and the reef that we see here in front of you. And this is a cleaning station that's located on the outer reef on the western side. And now we have cruised all the way to the border line of South Atoll as well. So from here it's north, while we are on the other side of the channel, it's South Atoll. So this will be the first dive that we are going to do in South Atoll as well. This is the outer reef, which starts in a depth of around 0 meters, which is the breaking wave, and from there it extends out more like 50 to 100 meters from the breaking wave to the reef edge. Slopes down to a depth of around 10 to 12 meters on the outer reef edge, and most part of this reef goes more like a wall, going all the way down to more than 30 meters into the oceanic depths. But the more we come towards the north, towards the channel corner, it starts to slope down to a depth of around 25 meters, and then you start to see a sandy bottom from there, and it extends out toward more than 30 meters where the drop off of this channel is. So the cleaning station that we find here is one of the largest cleaning stations that we dive for mantas in the Maldives, which starts in a depth of around 14 meters and goes all the way down to a depth of around 25 meters. And the width is also like 20 meters from one side to the other. And this cleaning station is very distinctly. Series of boulder corals step by step goes up, and you find snappers, different types of snappers like 5-point snappers, sweet lips, and pump and snappers on this place with a lot of cleaner wrasses. The blue and black smaller cleaner wrasses that we find around on the cleaning station. At the beginning of the dive, we will go down to a depth of around 20 to 25 meters. And once we are there, depending on the visibility and the current, your dive guide might move a little bit out away from the reef before getting to the cleaning station, but only if the visibility is good enough to see what's close by the channel drop off. Okay, usually other than mantas, we have chance to see some white tips lying down on the sandy part before getting to the cleaning station and right below the cleaning station as well. And some grey reef sharks cruise up and down as well. Sometimes we get lucky with eagle rays on the area too. But once we are on the way to the cleaning station, you might encounter some mantas coming towards you or swimming by. Please do not swim after them. Try to stay as closer to the reef and wait. Most of the time these guys come and check you out, and if you happen to swim after them or try to go closer them, the reef mantas most of the time they roll up their cephalic fin, get stressed and leave the area. At any time, please do not go too close to the cleaning station or on top of the cleaning station. Okay? If you happen to go too closer to the cleaning station, again the mantas, they might even leave the place, giving you the chance to go on top of the cleaning station. But we don't want that to happen. And out of respect for the cleaning station and the dive site, if there were no mantas also, please do not go on top of the cleaning station. At the beginning of the dive, we will try to stay in the lower end of the cleaning station, so we have a view of the whole cleaning station from the bottom part around in a depth of around 25 meters. And here you could use your reef hooks, or depending on the current, if it is less than medium to slight, we can easily stay around close by the sandy slope that starts from here at 25 meters. And we will wait there until our NDL time reach up to 5 minutes, or if the mantas are staying at the shallower part of the cleaning station, we will try to swim all the way around and shallow our dive towards the edge of the reef.
was at a tiller called Dhiggaa Thila. Supposed to be very good for macro, and you know I want to get some macro stuff. I'm always doing sharks and bigger stuff, and so I'd actually like to get some macro. I'm experimenting with my Hero 7 with a macromate times 15. I've now got the lights, so I can position the lights and use the GoPro to try and get some macro. It's not easy because I'm doing it by hand, so the footage moves around. So I've actually got a thing to mount that Hero 7 on my setup, which involves me doing a bit of engineering, which I'll do when I get back, and then I can switch out one of the 8s with one of the 7s and hopefully get more steady shots. Yeah, it was a bit of a disappointment, but only because of the conditions. We couldn't get on top of the reef because of the surge and the way the weather was. But a good sight. I would like to go back there. I'm sure there's lots of stuff, if the conditions were right, small stuff that you could find. It just wasn't good today, but I'd definitely relish the opportunity of going back there when the sun's out and the sea's flat.
As our third dive of the day, we're gonna do a pinnacle dive. It's called Dhiggaa Thila. It's right next to Red Dhiggaa Island, which is uninhabited island. So that is why this is called the Red Dhiggaa Thila. And on this reef, we're gonna do the north part of the pinnacle because it's a really big pinnacle, more or less around 100 meters. So within one dive, you couldn't make full complete circle of the pinnacle. And in this pinnacle, the average depth of the top reef will be around 2 to 3 meters, and average depth on the reef edge will be around 5 to 6 meters, and it goes more like a wall, steep wall, all the way to 30 meters. And on the north side of the reef, you'll find a lot of overhangs and crevices on this pinnacle, which will be filled with few soft colors of soft corals and small stuff like noddy branches, streams, and mostly macro life.
at the time I made the day 2 of diving's videos, we'd done the 3 dives. I didn't realise that they were going to put a big floodlight out the back to attract plankton with the plan for whale sharks to come in if they were in the vicinity, and they were. We're anchored off Moofushi Island Resort, and 2 whale sharks came in. Unfortunately, again, I wasn't feeling that great. I was asleep when they came. There was a racket going on because there was like a party all night anyway. But anyway, 2 whale sharks came in, and thanks to my assistant camera people, John and Iris from the Netherlands, they took this footage, and it's absolutely amazing. So yeah, this is the bonus for day 2 of the diving, day 3 of the trip. Hope you enjoy it.